Hello, brothers and sisters, and a very warm welcome to the Redemptorist Friendship Circle. This is a podcast of the Redemptorist community of the Vice Province of Malaysia and Singapore. And in this podcast, we talk about everything Redemptorist. We introduce you to Redemptorists from around the world, and we talk about interesting and current topics both in the congregation and around the Catholic Church at large. So, my name is Gerard. I'm a Redemptorist. I live in Singapore and welcome to this podcast. And with me is my co-host, the
I
co-host.
I am Terence. I am from Malaysia, but I'm serving here in Novena Church in Singapore. But talking about where we are from, Gerard, although you're from Singapore, I believe that you're not in Singapore at the moment. So tell us, where are you at?
Yeah, it seems as if the last time you welcomed me back, and then now I'm away again.
Exactly. Yeah,
Such is the
running all around the
missionary
world.
missionary life. Yeah, I hope it'll be my
Yeah.
last trip
So
for a while. I am
yeah,
in
where are you at?
Geelong in Australia now.
Not Geylang, huh?
Not Geelong in Australia.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
and not many Singaporeans know where Geelong is, and not many Australians know where Geelong is. It's a very,
Mm-hmm.
very small town. It's near Canberra. And the Redemptorists have
Mm-hmm.
had a long presence here. I want to tell you just a little bit about Geelong. Uh,
Okay.
for decades and decades, Geelong has been a place where the Redemptorists in Australia have had their novitiate and their juvenate. It's
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of a farming region, and so lots of sheep and lots of wheat around here.
All
Eh,
right.
yeah, it's near Canberra. It's on the inland of New South Wales, so it can get pretty cold in the winter. We've had some pretty cold days here. Today is not too bad, but the last couple of days were really cold. So this would be a place that is very close to the heart of a couple of our own confreres. Fathers Paul
Mm-hmm.
Pang, Simon Pereira, and Eugene Fernandez
Oh.
would have done their novitiates here in Geelong. So
Oh, wow.
uh, they would know this
So
place very well.
So what are you doing there?
Okay. Well, I'm here for some business actually. I'm very blessed to be invited by the province of Oceania to join them
Mm,
in a workshop on formation. So
okay.
formation is what in the Redemptorist community we call the process of training that goes on for quite a number of years. And so we're just talking about how we can do that better and how we can do that in a way that is effective in this age in which we are living, in this context in which we are
Mhm.
living.
Okay, so well, talking about the formation and talking about people joining the Redemptorists, so today we have a very young and vibrant Redemptorist joining us as our guest. And in fact, previously in our previous episodes, we have been talking to some of our confreres here in our vice province, and then we talked to confreres around the region. Last week, the last episode, we spoke to Father RJ from Manila, but today we are going to go way beyond Southeast Asia, and in fact, we're going to speak to one of our confreres from the continent of Africa. So he is by the name of Father Justin, a very young and vibrant Redemptorist, and I hope he can introduce to us a little bit of the Redemptorist over there in Africa and share with us a little bit of their mission. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's very interesting and very exciting to have somebody coming from that part of the world. It's a part of the world where the Redemptorist congregation is growing, but
Hmm.
not without its challenges. Yeah, uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I think there are just under 500 Redemptorists all over
Mm.
Africa. It's a very, very vast continent, and
Yeah.
I think the Redemptorists are still in the in a period of establishing themselves there, growing their mission and growing their presence in this continent. In some of the countries like Madagascar, Nigeria, and Congo, you're starting to have a significant presence, but in other places they're still small but growing
Yeah.
missions.
So, yeah, we're going to get to know a lot more about all this reality in this episode. But actually, as our listeners will have already known, we have already had this conversation with Father Justin. So, we are recording a post introduction after speaking to Father Justin. But because the conversation went It was quite interesting and it went quite lengthy, and therefore we decided this month we are going to uh, share two episodes, and we are going to split up this uh, interview into two parts. So today, our listeners will be able to listen to the first part of the interview, and I think it's a very interesting, a good introduction to Father Justin and some of the things that they do, and then we will share more in our upcoming episodes. So without further ado, let us just listen to our interview with Father Justin from Burkina Faso. All right, so let us put our hands together and welcome Father Justin. Woohoo! Father Justin, how are you?
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, all right. So Father Justin is
Yeah,
from the Vice Province of Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso, Niger in the past, but now they say West Africa.
Okay, so yeah,
West
so as you
Africa.
can see, Father Justin is one of our Redemptorists from West Africa. He happens to be studying in Indonesia, and he um, came here to Singapore to spend a couple of days or a couple of weeks with us. So we took this opportunity to have this conversation with Father Justin. All right. So how have you been enjoying yourself, Father Justin?
I am very happy to be in Singapore and I don't want to go back. I will pray Our Lady of Perpetual Help so that I will find myself staying here for a long time and enjoying this beautiful church
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and taking time to pray with faithful. It's really interesting to be here and something very, very great for my faith. My my name is Justin Wedraogo, but you don't need to tie yourself with Wedraogo. That one is a family name. You can find more than 4 million people in Burkina Faso bearing
Mhm,
the
mhm.
the same family name Wedraogo or
Okay.
Sawado. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
I stay in Indonesia for studies. What can I say? Agronomics or agriculture,
Ah, okay.
because I want to go back and stay with people in bush, like a
And
farmer.
farming areas, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
farming areas with youth and many people. It will be helpful, I think so. Yeah.
So anyway, Justin, that's a very interesting this studies that you're doing in Indonesia. Which part of Indonesia are you in? Where are you
I,
studying?
okay, I stay at Yogyakarta with our students,
Yes,
Redemptorist
in Wisma Sang
student,
Penebus, yeah.
Wisma
Mm-hmm.
Sang Penibus. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are almost 90 of us,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
a very great number. So
Yeah.
it's a place that is very, very interesting and lively. It's always animated and very interesting to be with youth. Prayer every day. We meet for prayer and also we meet for sport and we go to school also. It's a very,
Mm-hmm.
very, very nice family life that we have
Are you studying in English or in Bahasa Indonesia?
in Bahasas.
Ah, okay.
When
So
I
can you
Oh,
speak a few Bahasa
bisa
Indonesia
bercakap dalam
for
bahasa
us?
Indonesia.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Bahasa Indonesia masih
Yeah.
sulit
Oh,
sulit untuk saya, tapi saya mencoba sedikit sedikit.
Oh, sangat
oh,
baik.
ya lebih dari sedikit.
Yeah,
Okay.
pastilah. kalau belajar dalam bahasa Indonesia
I-
patut mesti faham.
Ya, ketika saya di Burkina Faso, saya berpikir saya bisa kuliah dengan little kecil Inggris, bahasa
Sedikit.
Inggris.
Okay.
But saya datang ke Indonesia, mereka bilang tidak boleh, harus belajar bahasa Indonesia. Saya
I
sudah
think we
orang
better
Okay,
tua.
we need to
translate back to
translate that.
English
Translate
because
that.
Hah?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
listeners might all be like, "What is happening?" Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. Let's
So I think
change
he
our
was saying,
conversation back
yeah,
to English.
he
Yeah,
was
you
saying that
mentioned.
he was hoping to go to Indonesia and do his studies in
Oke.
English, but that's not really available in Indonesia, and so he's had to learn Bahasa Indonesia. And Justin is speaking quite well in Bahasa Indonesia.
Yeah.
Very very good.
Since since we are at the topic of language, maybe we can just
Yeah,
get this over with also because I'm very
yeah,
excited because
yeah.
Burkina Faso actually speaks, you all speak French. And it just
Indeed.
happens that all of us are little, the rest of us, are me and Gerard, we are small French speakers. So maybe we can speak a little bit French over
Okay,
in this podcast itself. So, Father
okay.
Justin, vous voulez parler un peu de français pour l'auditeur de français?
Oui, mais vous-même, vous parlez français. Terence
Euh,
parle français. Gérard, lui, parle français. Moi,
oui, oui.
je disais
Je
que
parle seulement un peu, un
oui,
petit peu
mais
de
je disais
français.
de
Oui.
faire cette interview,
Oh,
en français, comme ça allait être très facile pour moi.
really? Awesome.
Yeah, so
Intéressant.
Justin is
Et
saying
vous
that
allez
if we
traduire
did this
après.
podcast in French, it would be much easier
Yeah.
for him. Yeah.
So now all we need to do now is to speak in Mandarin and then a bit of Tamil, and I think we pretty much covered all the
We've
language.
covered all the bases. Huh? But having said that,
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I have to practice my Bahasa Indonesia because I'm off to Sumba next week for the
Okay.
Alphonsian
Okay.
youth gathering, and I would very much like to engage with the local people there.
But
So I
your
haven't
bahasa
spoken
sudah
Bahasa Indonesia
bagus.
for quite a long time, and so I would really like to get up to speed with that.
All right.
Okay,
So,
so back to you, Justin. Huh? So you're
All
saying
of
you're in
you,
Yogyakarta.
what I can say, all of you, you master English, Bahasa Indonesia, and Tamil also, and Mandarin, something
Mhm.
like that. You are
yeah.
very, very clever, and I have to congratulate you for this effort.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I know that
Yeah.
many people in Africa speak a number of languages too. Yeah, you would have
yeah,
French
a
as
little
well
bit,
as your
yes.
native tongue and other
Yeah,
languages that you pick up
hmm,
as well.
yeah.
It's very common
Maybe
in
so let
Asia
us
and in Africa.
understand a little bit about you, Father Justin. You can start off by
Hmm.
just giving
Yeah.
us a
So
little
me,
bit of your vocation story. Yeah.
yes, and how you
Okay.
ended up joining the Redemptorists.
Actually, I wanted to become priest since my childhood. I had the vocation. I can say that I heard the voice of God to serve Him in more closely. I don't know if it is in priesthood or brotherhood, or but I had a desire in my heart to serve God. I even tried to go to a minor seminary, but it will be 35 years old. And at that time, they asked us to pay $50 for 1 year. And I can tell you that because of $50, I couldn't stay for long in the seminary because it was very heavy for my father and mother, because we are seven of us. I was the last, so it means that I am not the only one that needs support. So I I went back to my village and I couldn't really finish my program in the minor seminary,
Okay,
but
and you
I
carried on
went.
with some other studies.
Huh? Yeah,
Were you able to?
I carried on with the normal program that can I was supposed to do in the seminary, but now outside living with my parents and going to school. The only problem is that you don't have the same quality than people that are staying in seminary with priests, and not the same discipline also. Yeah, we are most free outside, and we can even forget about learning our lessons. Yeah, this is the problem, but it will be cheaper outside because we just live in our family. We eat what
There's
we
no
can eat, and
board
we
and
go to,
lodging costs. Yeah.
yeah, we go for public school.
Yes. And so, what led you back? Came
And
back to the Redemptorist some
yeah,
years
one day
later.
I went to the capital city, Ouagadougou,
Ouagadougou.
and in my estate, I will say, uh, I met with Redemptorists. So their style of life was really interesting, simplicity, and they were very, 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 very convinced people in their faith. And so their style of life was really meaningful for me. And I decided to to go to them, to meet with them, and to try to know them and see if I can make my way with them also. And yeah, when I went there, they have a very, 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 I don't know, strategy to 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 welcome people and to encourage them to become redemptorists. If I can say something also, I went to Nigeria and I saw that they have the same spirit, because if you send them a letter to know them, they will be a little bit pushing you, sending you messages, come and join us, come and see, come and see. So people used to say that. I was thinking about going to Dominicans or Jesuits, but Redemptorists showed too much love to me.
I guess that's kind of like a signature of the Redemptorist.
Yeah,
So like
exactly.
Well,
I
certainly,
have been
Terence.
to many of
I
the
would.
communities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Certainly, Terence, I would pick up on that, and with the vocation promotion we do out of Nala Road, that's certainly
Mm-hmm.
something that we should pick up a little bit more. Just
Yes,
be
exactly. I
a little
do. I
bit
do
more
hope that people
inviting.
find that. Yeah, I do hope that people find that the Redemptorists here in Singapore are very welcoming. Definitely for me, when I first joined, I find that the community was a very welcoming community. That's why I always share with people one of the important factor that I decided to join the community was the Redemptorists was the moment I was invited into the community house. I felt that, oh, this place feels very
Okay.
much like home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that very homey, very welcoming feeling. I do find it in many of our Redemptorist communities around the world,
Okay.
at least to the places that I've visited. Maybe
Yes.
one or two exceptions, but generally all are always very welcoming. Yeah.
Okay, so back to
Same
you, Justin.
spirit.
And how old were you when you first entered the Redemptorists into the postulancy?
I joined the Redemptorist in 1999. I was normally 22 years old,
Okay.
and I had my first profession in 1992, three years later.
2002.
2000, yeah, sorry,
2002.
2002.
sorry. Yeah,
2002. Yeah.
2002
Yeah.
and 2.
2002.
Yeah. Normally it's the same year than our current general father.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah, the
wow.
same
that's
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Father
correct.
General. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Justin and I and Father General all have something in common,
Yeah.
is that we joined
Really?
the
You're all got
congregation at the same
firstly.
year, at the same
Oh.
age. We were all professed in the year
Yeah.
2002.
Seems like the two of you have a lot of very important things coming your way.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
earlier,
I
Justin,
did
you had
my,
spoken.
my, my first profession. When I did my first profession, I had normally 25 years, because I know that the coming Jubilee, 25 of my first profession, it will be my 50 years.
Yeah.
I will be 50 years
50
old.
years and you would have
Oh,
been 25
okay.
years
Yeah, it
professed.
means
Yeah.
that I have done it when I had 25
25
years.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, when we will add 25 years, it will be 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's go back, Justin. And you were mentioning that there were some other orders that you were thinking about before you entered, but eventually you chose the Redemptorists.
Mhm.
So, what was it about the Redemptorists that really drew you to this particular charism?
Redemptorists
Hmm.
are there people. I I don't know if I got the
What
question.
what is the thing about Redemptorists that attracted you the
Yeah, they
most?
are very simple. They are simple and they are not complicated and welcoming people, and you can go and stay with them and discuss about many things. You can have guidance with Redemptorists. Yeah, they take time to sit down with you, like if they are catechists in our villages, and they can help you to deepen your faith. Yeah, and very, very, they are careful about poor people.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
and they used to go to village. Burkina Faso, when they came there, it was for first evangelization. So
Hmm.
when we speak about first evangelization, it means that you have to go to village and to stay with people in a very, very terrible condition
Mm.
of
Hmm. Hmm.
lack. You must stay with people.
So I guess
Yes.
the conference there, they really respond to the call of our Redemptorist congregation to reach out to the poor and the most
Mm.
abandoned. And I
The
think
most
that they
abandoned.
do that in a very realistic and down to earth manner. So perhaps Justin, that's how you see the Redemptorists, that they are
Yeah.
really close to the poor.
Close
If
to
I
the
want to
people, close
speak
to the poor.
now, they will say that I am praising myself because it's difficult. Because now is African Redemptorists that are carrying on the work
Hmm.
started by our French fathers. But if you see us in the desert, last night I I heard the provincial from Philippines. He said that the bishop asked them to open a new parish somewhere, but they cannot because it's very isolated, and it is like if you put someone to nowhere. I said, if you go to our place in Burkina Faso, there is a place. There are some places very, very strange, difficult, because
Isolated.
no Christian
Mm.
in the desert. You will stay there, like that pastoral is the one of presence to Muslim people. But I can tell you that is strange and miraculous because all of those that have been there, when you ask them to leave for another place, they will tell you that it's a great suffering to leave that place. And I
Mm.
experienced it myself. I stayed
Mm.
there for 4 years, but I have said that it has been the uh, most difficult change of mission that
Mm.
I went through. Very, very
Mm.
difficult. But I don't know. Christ will give you the grace to bear the
Mm.
mission. We
Yeah.
even have a story that is a little bit sad, but a little bit also interesting because one of our fathers stayed there. He was the only Christian there, and one day he was going to the church, but little church, not
Hmm.
just maybe 2 times this
Yeah.
room.
So it's a small church.
Yeah, he was going there and maybe heart attack or what, he died on between his room and the church. No one to take care of him like a Christian. It was the Muslim leader, Muslim imam that went with his faithful. They took care of him. They buried him praying in Muslim rite. And they came to ask the bishop to do his best and to ask if this father, Yahya, his name is Jean, but John in the Quran will give Yahya, and they called him Yahya. They went to ask Bishop Romano. No, at that time it was Berlier, if he can see in the family of that father if there is another priest to come and replace him. And his younger brother, that was priest, came to stay with them for 2 years so that they will they will accept the departure of and he went back.
Welcome back. Okay, so now that is the first part of our conversation with Father Justin. So do stay tuned for our next episode to hear the rest of our conversation with him. Well, Gerard, what struck me in our conversation with Father Justin was that while we are all Redemptorists and while we have all been trained in our Redemptorist spirituality, because of where we are from and because of our context, actually the way we lived out our Redemptorist missionary call is really very different. I have to say, it in such conversation, it made me realize more how lucky we are here in Malaysia and Singapore. Oftentimes, things can be taken for granted because over here, finance is not really so much of an issue. Peace is not so much an issue. But for some of our Redemptorists around the world, that might not be the case. They will be preaching or trying to live out our Redemptorist charism in a very challenging environment. So I do think that we need to be very thankful for the blessings that we have here. But anyway, for you, I'm sure that you have traveled way more than me and you have met with a lot more Redemptorists around the world. What struck you from this conversation with Justin?
Yeah, thanks, Terence, for sharing that. I certainly resonate with everything that you've said. Although I've been blessed to travel to a lot of places, but one place I've never been to is the continent of Africa. So I hope one day I can really experience firsthand the context in which they live and that they work. What struck me was how Catholic missionaries live in the midst of a Muslim environment. There are certainly a lot of Muslims around them. And although they're their countrymen and they share the same culture and oftentimes the same language, but yet they don't allow this difference that they have in religion to separate them. Catholic missionaries are willing to simply live with people of other faiths, to be committed to their faith and witness to each other in that living together. I think that story that he told about the imam who had to bury the priest is one of the extraordinary stories that I've heard in my life, and that's really amazing. We'll hear more about it in the next episode as well.
Yeah, so we just really invite our listeners to listen to our next episode, which is just going to be released in about 2 weeks' time, to just hear the continuation in which we discuss about this reality a little bit more. Now, so before we end our episode this time, let's just let our listener know some of the interesting happenings that is coming within this month of July. So, Gerard, do you want to start off by letting the people know what's going to happen?
Okay, a number of things are happening in July, and it's a very, very happy and celebratory time for the Redemptorist community here in Malaysia and Singapore. So we ended the month of June with a whole bunch of Redemptorist feast days and celebrations. But on the 14th of July is a very special day for us because two novices, Henry Lim,
Henry.
Henry Lim and Nicholas Martin will be taking their first profession.
Woohoo! Yeah. And where's that going to happen?
Okay, it's going to be in Ipoh. It's going to be at our Mother Perpetual Help Parish in Ipoh. Both of them are Malaysians. Henry comes from Dalat in Sarawak, and Nicholas comes from Kota Baru in Kelantan. So they are both Malaysians, and it's wonderful for the profession to be held in our church in Ipoh. I think it's the first time in a very long time that such a ceremony is being held there. So really very, very happy for the two of them and also for all our confreres in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And Terence, you too.
Yeah. One more for the Malaysians.
Two more.
Hey, two more. Yeah, sorry. Two
Yeah.
more for the Malaysians. Yeah. That is not the only celebration that we're going to have because in the following week, on the 20th of July, we are going to have the Diaconate of our Redemptorist, Antony Charles Prabhu. So, Brother Antony Charles was already appeared in our podcast previously after his final profession. We've spoken to him and to ask him of his experience. So he has finally finished his studies, and now he will be he will be ordained a deacon on the 20th of July here in Singapore at Christ the King Church at 5 p.m. So it's a Saturday 5 p.m. Mass. So all are welcome. So please come and join us in this very great celebration. We are finally going to welcome another deacon, and very soon, hopefully, maybe by the end of the year or early next year, we are going to have a new Redemptorist priest in our midst.
Okay.
Ooh.
Just to say, Antony Charles has chosen to do his ordination to the Diaconate at Christ the King because that's the parish that he comes from. Yeah. And so after these ceremonies, Henry and Nicholas will go to Davao to begin their theology studies, and Antony Charles will be here in Novena Church from now onwards. He's finished his studies and he's ready to take up his new life of ministry.
Yeah, so we get to hear him preaching the novenas, the Sunday masses. Hopefully.
And the very next day, he's going to have to play his role as a deacon at another special event in Novena Church, which is Terence.
Yes. The Solemnity of the Most Holy Redeemer. So it's a very big feast for us, the Redemptorists. It's always celebrated on the third Sunday of July. And during this feast, all the Redemptorists, I believe, around the world will have to do something very special. And what would that be?
It's the renewal of vows. Certainly in our Vice Province, it is a tradition for us to renew our vows on the feast of the Holy Redeemer.
Yeah. So if you come for the evening Mass on Sunday, July 21st and the 5:30 p.m. Mass, you will be seeing all of the Redemptorists, at least those that are available. We will come together and renew our vows once again before all the faithful. So that's something that is very important to us and something that is very significant for us. And we do hope that all the churchgoers that always come to Novena Church, you can come and join us in this wonderful celebration also. Yeah, so that's all we have up till the 21st of July. We are not going to tell you what's happening after that because we are going to release another episode by then. So stay tuned for our next episode so that you can hear more of what's going to happen at the second part of July. So before we sign off, Jerry, anything more that you want to say? Any greetings from Gaylong?
Yeah, well, I hope I have a good experience, and I'm going to Sumba in Indonesia after this to join 12 young people from Malaysia and Singapore and a couple of hundred from all over Asia, from our different youth groups and different Redemptorist churches around Asia, for a big
Yep.
youth gathering in Sumba. So I'll tell you about
Yep.
it when I come back. I'm really looking forward to
Yes.
it. And I'm
In
looking
fact,
forward to the month of July to celebrate with
yes,
our young confreres.
the Malaysian delegates have just arrived here in Singapore for a couple of days of preparation, and then they will all be flying to Sumba. So you'll get to meet
Yeah, I'll
them
see
very
them
soon
there.
over there.
Yeah.
So we'll wait for the next episode to see what happened in all this celebration around the world in our Redemptorist happy family. So goodbye to our listeners, and hope to see you again very soon in our next episode.
Take care, everyone. God bless.